And welcome to WyoToday Sports Live here on 101.7 KDNO. I am joined by Baylor Beers, and Cody is MIA. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, and we'll see if and when he shows. But lot going on, of course. A signing the other day for Wisconsin, a thrower for Lander. So we'll let Cody go into that. He knows a little bit more of that. If he walks in the door, I'll pull it up and give all the details here in a little bit. But we sat down, Baylor, Tuesday night, all of us, Andrew, Ernie, Marshall, you and I, your dad, and did the all-county team. That will be unveiled on the Saturday after Black Friday. So a week from tomorrow, it'll be in the Ranger and Lander Journal. So check that out. And so we'll be talking about that a week from next Friday and just going through it. But one of the things I noticed is just kind of after the fact, and it's kind of been statewide, a little bit of an old school return in Wyoming in the fact that, boy, it was, sometimes you get the Chinese New Year, year of the dog or year of the elephant or what have you, is the year of the running back kind of statewide, which is a little bit of a throwback from what a lot of teams want to do nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, we had several running backs in Fremont County specifically that had fantastic seasons. Obviously, Hunter Saltzgaber led the majority of the state in rushing, but then, in all classifications. And then, also had Cody West and Lander, the backup running back over there.
1,000-yard rusher right there.
1,000-yard rusher. You had Bubba rushing out of Wind River. I mean, that's just fantastic.
1,000-yard rusher right there. It was a whole litany of games. Now, you'd expect one from Wind River because that's what they're going to do. They're going to run the wishbone. But, I mean, nine-man was full of power backs. It was an interesting thing having gotten to call them. And, we kind of go through those three because they're 1,000-yarders. Let's not forget Cade and Kissling, and Shoshone, another great back in Fremont County. But it wasn't just Fremont County related. When you looked across it, you didn't have a whole lot of teams, it seemed, this year that wanted to throw first and throw a whole lot. Mm-hmm. Of course, you had your Jacksons and stuff like that, but they were fewer and far between. It's kind of like, fantasy football. The running back seems to be out of favor, then in favor, then out of favor. The funniest part is in fantasy football, if you've got two dominant stud running backs, you're going to make a run. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed, in 3A, because that's what we covered, a lot of coaches would use the run as the majority of their play calls, and then they would almost use the pass as the dink and dunk, or they take a long shot here and there. But really no team came out and stuck to the pass, I guess, other than maybe Star Valley in 3A. And so it definitely was kind of a strange year. Usually you have a Rollins that runs a spread offense. This year they tried to run the ball all the time. So it was definitely the year of the running back for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jackson, Star Valley wanted to throw the ball. Star Valley a little bit better at, if they had to run, they could. Of course, they've grown big on the farm, as we've said on here many times. Jackson a little bit less. They had to be in shootouts, or they had to score a lot, I should say. They wanted to throw and throw often. Of course, for coaches, when you talk to them about what you want out of quarterbacks, I don't care if it's the most throw-happy quarterback and coach or anything like that. The first thing I always say is don't throw picks. Don't turn the ball over. And, of course, when you air it out, especially at the high school level, mm-hmm. you kind of do run that risk of getting into those teens-level interceptions. Speaking of interceptions, since he's not here because we were debating on text last night, Josh Allen, of course, 8 interceptions in his last 9 games. He's had some good games. Of course, Houston Texans, #1 defense. Of course, Denver Bronco fans like to argue that, but Houston Texans, #1 defense. I think Denver's probably a little more all-rounded team slightly, but especially with Stroud out in concussion protocol now for, 3 weeks?
3 weeks, yeah.
But, of course, Josh Allen falling last night, and I'm still amazed by one play. Not just by him, but that the Houston Texans #1 defense gave it up. The 4th and 27.
Yeah, that was crazy. The hook and ladder or whatever.
Yeah, the hook and lateral to give it up, especially when they were playing the right side defense. Don't let anybody behind you. Mm-hmm. And somebody didn't catch the guy coming across, and they convert. unfortunately for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, of course, it ended on an interception, and that was I think that guy's third turnover. He had 2 picks and a fumble recovery.
Yeah, he did.
So he had himself a day. Of course, we would say all that to mention that usually this is where we turn to Cody, but Baylor will turn to you because you went there too. And I got a kid there. Wyoming is going to be hosting Nevada Reno, or the University of Nevada Wolfpack tomorrow at noon. Of course, Josh Allen, the retiring of his jersey, a big deal. He's there since he played on Thursday, or he'll be there. I doubt he's in Laramie yet, but he'll be there. But let's not sugarcoat this. This is a sports show, and congratulations, Josh Allen and whatnot. But let's not sugarcoat an absolutely huge game for the Cowpokes.
Well, if they want a chance to be bowl eligible, they have to win out now. I mean, they only have 2 games left. They're 4-6 now. It's just Nevada comes in. They're one of the worst teams in the Mountain West. They just have not had a great year, and so this is a game. If you're the Cowboys, you've played San Diego State and Fresno State, 2 of the top dogs in the Mountain West. This is a game you can kind of lick your wounds a little bit, a get right game as they call it, and you have to secure a win here and take that momentum into Hawaii next week. And try to get bowl eligible, try to salvage a little bit of something out of this season. But it should be a great game. I mean, it's sold out. I mean, games don't sell out in Laramie, even when Power 5 schools come or Power 4 schools come to town.
Not in November.
Yeah, and especially not in November. Looks like the weather should be beautiful. I mean, for a November game, we are lucking out, especially for November 22nd. So, should be a really fun game. Hopefully everyone can come down. I mean, obviously it's sold out, like I said, so don't pay an arm and a leg to buy some tickets, but should be a great game.
Should be, and it's going to be interesting to see, of course, perfectly timed, and it's perfectly timed for a lot of schools that are getting their senior day, so to speak, tomorrow, because so many schools, I mean, they don't officially call off, they get out on like Wednesday, but so many classes wind up canceling at the college level, and that Black Friday, that Saturday can sometimes be a very sparse crowd because a lot of students have gone home. I know in this case, like my daughter who's in the Western Thunder, she's coming home right after the game because she doesn't have any class next week. So it's senior day, it's Josh Allen's day, but most importantly for UW, it's a game they have got to win. And not that we want to speculate that anybody could be on a hot seat or anything like that, but losing Nevada, even with Wyoming, where they're kind of viewed nationally, is a bad loss. Nevada is a bad football team, and I don't know what that might bode for Coach Salwell and the others if they were to lose that one, especially if they were to lose that one by like 10 or more.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's a resounding loss, it definitely will change the tune a little bit. I really don't know. I mean, just the history of Tom Berman and his staff, they don't typically move on from somebody. I mean, Craig Bowl went 2-10 and I think 4-8 his first 2 seasons also. So I feel like they're going to give him another year at least, but I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think Wyoming fans, I mean, they don't have much power in it, but I mean, there's a lot of Wyoming fans that want them gone already, and so it should be a game they win. So he's got to come out, and the team has to perform, or else people aren't going to be happy.
Well, and there's discussions. He was a quick hire off of bowl staff. And hiring from within, I remember when I first got here, a lot of rumblings about that. People wanted to look a little more nationwide. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand maybe what they're trying to do. They don't want to fall into the typical mid-major, but I think you got to embrace that. You got to embrace the fact that you want to hire a young guy up and coming. I think Laramie's a great little place to start. It will really show you can recruit if you get kids from out of state to come to Laradice and play football. And, 3 years later, 4 years later, if they're successful, you're doing it all over again. I think that's the way college football works at this point, and they're going to have to look to do it. Conversely, Wyoming Cowboys not having the greatest of football season. Until this past week, the University of Wyoming basketball team off to a really good start. Started out 4-0, of course, went down to Sam Houston State and lost that one. And the good part, if there's ever a good part of the loss, is that's completely fixable.
Yep.
Because it was just, they were awful from the charity stripe.
Yep. Yeah, I think maybe under 30%, I believe, like 9 of 27 or something crazy like that. But I mean, one thing, Wyoming fans, we don't know much about Sam Houston State. I mean, we've played them. I think the last time we played them was 1991. I think is what they were saying on coverage. But Sam Houston State's played Texas Tech close this year. They played another Power 4 school, which I've since forgotten since coverage. But
they haven't played Texas Tech yet. They play them on the 30th.
Oh, maybe I must be thinking of someone else. But they played a couple really good teams close this season. So they are a good team, and obviously traveling on the road for a weeknight game, that's never easy. So, the Cowboys, I think, like you said, it's fixable. They'll correct some issues.
Oh, yeah. I'm guessing that practice ended with, okay, until you make 100 or 50 in a row or whatever the coaches want to peg it at, that's what was going on. Of course, if you're going down to Laramie this weekend for the Josh Allen game and you're going to be there on Sunday, be sure to go check out 2 o'clock at Wyoming. They're going to be hosting Norfolk State. Should be a chance to get back in the win column. And then next Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, they will host Denver. And right after that Sunday, last Sunday of the month, is the game at Texas Tech. Of course, that game comes kind of around because of the previous head coach going to be the assistant coach, associate head coach at Texas Tech, and it being scheduled that way. So speaking of basketball, we're starting to get schedules in, and they're starting to get finalized. If you have not heard as of yet, the Stranigan Memorial I call them invitationals because they're not really tournaments per se, Baylor. Because you don't play everybody. There's not a champion, but it's called tournament, so we'll stick with it. The Stranigan, not going to happen this year. They only had 3 teams coming, quite frankly. They had 3 other teams that were confirmed, and then one backed out. I want to say it was Kelly Walsh, but don't quote me on that, simply because of that new company in Casper. It's one of those things like the movies. We're not going to mention their name because they're not paying us to advertise, but they've put together a tournament down there. It'll be at the event center this year, not at their new facility. At least that's what the schedule looks like so far. I'm sure we will wind up at their new facility too, because I think they'll want to show it off.
Oh yeah,
but it is utilizing the event center. Of course, for Kelly Walsh, of course, saves a bunch of budget because it's home, so they don't have to get a hotel or anything like that. And credit to them too. They reached out once Kelly Walsh did what they did. It reached out to the other 3 teams, including Riverton, and said, "Hey, look, no entry fee. Just come on if you want to." And so that decision was made. So Riverton will start out 2 weeks on the road, just like Wyoming Indian for your dad will, with invitationals. We'll be at the Casper Compete, followed by the Flaming Gorge. And hopefully the Casper Compete is talking to all the superintendents and stuff down in Rock Springs and Green River on how to throw an outstanding invitational. Hopefully they're talking to Reggie, too, about Stranigan, because, that this is their first foray into it. So it'll be interesting to see. Of course, Riverton girls basketball is returning all but one starter. One's not playing this year, but had no seniors last year. So they're returning they're returning everybody, basically. Of course, then the flip side of that, the Riverton boys 2 years ago had 7 seniors. Last year had 6. And this year, you can talk a little bit about the injuries, but of course, it's 2 of the key players who figured in to get a lot of minutes. Clay Sheets, broken hand, and Blake Gantenbein, torn up knee. So it's going to be interesting to see. We don't have anything official on Blake as far as the extent of it. Hopefully it's minor. Haven't heard an MRI or anything like that yet. Just we wouldn't really talk about it if we had, except for him being out. But, if things are torn, basketball's probably off the table. Mm-hmm. For Clay, he's able to play, but it's different motion, not taping up the hand quite as much. Not able to wear the gloves, so
yeah, you can't really play basketball with a club, unfortunately.
No, you can't. Well, you can't really play wide receiver with one all that well.
Right.
So
he tried. No, I think. If I remember right, that injury happened earlier in the season for Clay Sheets. So I feel like he'll be out there. I guess I shouldn't speculate, but towards the end of the season at least. And like you said, we kind of chatted about this Tuesday. it's going to be a small squad. There's going to be a lot of playing time in between all the players. Not a lot of bench guys unless someone steps up. But I mean, they're just going to have to figure it out. And I think Coach Sheets, he works his best strategy with a smaller squad, more dedicated squad. So it'll be an interesting year.
So we also want to give a shout out. This came out, this happened earlier, and we had it in the Wednesday and whatnot. But congratulations, we've already had it in the paper and whatnot, but we really haven't talked about it. Congratulations to the Lander Valley Lady Tigers, 2025 Class 3A Girls Swimming and Diving State Champs, back on November 7th and 8th. I don't think we talked about it too much, but just absolute what we've kind of expected from the boys program, who've won like 27 or 28 or whatever it is in a row. Back to back, they won 8 of the 12 events. Katie Anderson and Veda Havens both won 2 individual apiece. And the Tigers also swept all 3 relays. So just absolute dominant. I don't know how swimming points work. I'll plead ignorance here. But they won by 177 points. And everywhere I've seen, that seems to be a huge deal when your closest opponent has 200. Yeah. So absolute domination by the Lander Valley Lady Tigers. Congratulations to them. But now we're going to bring back the fantasy moment here, as we're kind of a little bit all over the board. We expected this to be an interesting show. By the way, we're working out the kinks here in this studio downstairs, and starting hopefully next week, we're going to try and make sure that during the show we give away 2 basketball tickets to watch the Cowpokes play in Laramie. So we'll be giving tickets away. Now, if they have a large stretch in December, I haven't looked that far ahead, where they're not playing or something like that, we won't do that. I hope to have some coaches in here now that the football season's over, kind of recap with them, maybe get a couple basketball coaches, maybe get some CWC coaches in as well. Of course, they're kind of our little unsung gem if you gym in the county. If you're into college basketball, and we don't get to watch a lot live here except for on the television, make your way out to a CWC game. It's a quaint atmosphere, it's small. It's very cozy, so to speak, but they do a good job with it, and they're a pretty good athletic team. And their soccer program has been on the rise, and 2 of them made the playoffs last year for the first time. The girls and the boys made the playoffs last year at CWC. So an athletic program on the rise, and hey, they're part of our community. Get out and support them. So we are getting towards the fact of people starting to look at playoffs and positioning, not just in the NFL, but especially in fantasy, because depending on your league, you're going to end anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks early. Mm-hmm. And really now, more than anything, because now you're starting to get the wear and tear injuries, you're also starting to look going, well, I got this great quarterback, whether like with the Colts or whatnot, but the championship week, they might just rest them all for fantasy. What's your waiver wire kind of look?
Yeah, I mean, number one, if you have somebody like Saquon or one of the top dogs, you need to have their backup on your bench. At this point in the season, we're kind of past the throw a dart at the wall and hope it sticks kind of deal. So if you have
it with wideouts,
exactly, yeah. Some of those dart throws you draft, in the later rounds of your startup draft or your draft, they probably aren't going to make a difference if they haven't already. And so this is the time when you need to start getting some insurance, have those backups on your roster. So I prioritized that. I actually had Josh Jacobs, so I was able to get his backup this week. But, and then, typically the trade deadline in a fantasy football league is about this time. So the one thing you should be looking at is the schedule in the playoffs, because that can make the biggest difference of all. You might make it to the playoffs, but if they're playing the 3 hardest defenses, if you have a wide receiver playing the 3 hardest defenses, they're probably not going to have a big boom week in the playoffs. So now's the time when maybe you can use a little bit of a name, the currency of the name, I guess, whatever you want to call it, the value of the name, to try to trade for someone who maybe has a little bit better of a playoff schedule. Obviously, if you need that player to make the playoffs, you got to do what you got to do. And, not everybody's going to trade you. But that's kind of what I'm looking at this point in the season, trying to optimize those roster strength of schedules, as we head towards the playoff, but also trying to protect myself with those insurance backs on the waiver wire.
Yeah, absolutely, and things change too if you're in like a dynasty keeper league type situation like I am. Been in one for 30 years now, I think. No, it's longer, 30 years, because I joined it when I was 19. I'm 50, so 30. Whoa, I've won it three times, twice, something like that. Because your dad keeps telling me it's a mistake. I am getting to the point where I'm going to try and trade Josh Allen. It's nothing against Josh Allen. It's that we get 80 protection points and he's 70 next year. And if I just keep him and nobody else, he's just going to be best player on a really bad team in fantasy. So, that's where you got to look at it. If you're bottom third and you're looking at going, I'm not making the playoffs, I'm sure not winning playoffs if I do kind of luck out, is, start looking for that. For me, it was Jason Williamson. The sucker, as they say, a sucker's born every minute. Twice I have abused him. There's no chance of him listening to this. So once was Eddie George, who would have been all my protection points. That's dating how long I've been in this. Start looking at what you can do for draft picks. Some leagues have rules. We can trade up to 3 years out on draft picks. So start looking, to see if you can get a couple number ones or whatnot to that team. Don't go to the best team. They're going to be kind of, no, why would I give away my future? I think I've got a good chance here. Look for that team that's barely there and they're missing like that one key piece. Normally, to get a trade like that, it's going to be either the Saquon Barkley, if it's a running back or something like that. Most likely, it's going to be a QB. Yep. That you're sitting on an elite guy like, I know Cody would throw things at us, like a Mahomes, like an Allen, or this year, like a Drake May. And they need one, and they need one. They're willing to overpay for it.
Oh yeah.
So now I wouldn't recommend it if you have Drake May, and this is where he'd really give me grief for saying the guy from New England Patriots, and only because I'm guessing that if you have Drake May on your team in a dynasty league, you didn't take him in the top 5, 6, 7 rounds, so you could keep him a while. Yep. And he may be your guy of the future. Now, can the guys who are finding new life? Can Sam Darnold do it again next year? Who knows? But this has been, as much as it was the running back year for us in high school football and pro, it might be the redemption year of the quarterbacks, because there's several coming off of just and they're looking like all world. I just forgot the Colts quarterback name. Went from the Giants.
Yeah, Daniel Jones.
I mean, when you look at it, Daniel Jones, Drake May, and Sam Darnold, if you'd said that 3 years ago, you would have been laughed out of the stage. Everybody just been, but
anyway. It's almost like the redemption of the gunslinging quarterbacks, because the Lamar, the Josh Allen, they've been good, but yeah, Patrick Mahomes, he hasn't been good for a few years. I mean, like you just said, a couple backups that now are superstars. I mean, even like Matthew Stafford. I mean, people that
137 years old, leads the league in touchdowns, and so looking at that last night, it's not, even for this point in time, it's not remarkably close. He's got a gap as far as touchdowns go. It does seem to be kind of a resurgence of the pocket passer, of that surgical strike. It also tells you that, a lot of people think of these guys, they're paid, they don't care as much. It still comes down to, I say, if you got elite coaching as your position coach and as a head coach, I mean, just look at May, Jones, Darnold, wind up with good offense coordinators, good quarterback coaches, and remarkable. You still have to coach a millionaire, a multimillionaire, and look at what they're doing now. I mean, if Sam Darnold doesn't get wins, does not get at least second or better in the MVP race, something's wrong, because he has looked like a master surgeon at times. I mean, what he did, I think it was 2 weeks ago in that first half.
Put up 35. Yeah.
Put up 35, had like 0 incompletions, and just everything on the money perfectly. Not even a ball behind a guy where he just made a good catch. So, all right. So we're getting towards the end here. We'd be surmise if we didn't mention the state champions because we picked them last week. I'm trying to pull it up so I make sure I get it right. But if I'm not mistaken, it was Sheridan, Little Snake River,
Star Valley.
Star Valley. Thank you. Bighorn, and didn't Rocky Mountain upset Pine Bluffs? Wasn't that the upset?
No, Burlington upset Bighorn, actually. Was it Burlington?
No, Burlington lost a Little Snake.
Who played Bighorn?
Rocky Mountain played Pine Bluffs. Yeah, we're all over the board here, folks. Don't let your dad know it. He kind of keeps us all. And Bighorn played Mountain View.
I'm trying to pull it up myself.
Yeah,
too.
so nonetheless,
Mountain View won.
Yeah,
Mountain View
won. Was the upset. Like I said, outside of Pine Bluffs and Rocky Mountain, where it was a 1-4, it was 1-2 and everything. So realistically, we'll call it an upset because 2-1, but it's not really an upset when everything went according to chalk. Always did a lot of very interesting semifinals and a lot of great finals too. I mean, Sheridan, Campbell County with an interim coach really played well, kept it tight, was in the game the whole time. Really, Cody, stuck with Star Valley. The whole time, 1-score game. The only one that was truly just, okay, it's over quick was Little Snake River and Burlington. Little Snake River showed the difference that they are. So there was that.
I think, and Pine Bluffs took care of Rocky Mountain, like you said. But, it's I'm sure Riverton Lander fans, we're thinking what if. But I know for me, it would have been an exciting game had those injuries not happened for Riverton, both first Cody, and then if they would have been able to pull it out, it would have been an exciting championship. I think Riverton could have hung with Star Valley personally, but I mean, you never know what would have happened, but it would have been an exciting into the season for sure.
It definitely would have been. I mean, at the end of the day, I watched a little bit of that game, not a ton, partly because of the timing of it, but was that Star Valley. Cody kind of looked a little bit like y'all talked about with Riverton at the end on that last defensive where Cody kind of, to some extent, had their way marching down the field. Cody in the fourth looked tired. They looked tired. I mean, but you never know. You got to play 48 minutes. It'd been interesting to see. It'd been especially interesting to see healthy Hunter, healthy Blake, heck, healthy Clay Sheets. What could Clay Sheets have done without a broken hand?
Yep.
Because, I mean, as well as he played, it had to affect him at least somewhat. So I do know the ADs and coaches, at least in 1A 6-man, so I'm assuming in everything. We're meeting yesterday in Cheyenne for All-State. So we should have that in the Rangerland Journal. Hopefully we'll have it for Wednesday. We're on real weird deadlines, obviously, with Thursday and Thanksgiving and whatnot, but hopefully we'll have that. Maybe we wind up talking about that next week. Who knows? So I know they got there. I know they were meeting to vote, and our all-county meeting because we follow our teams. We're homers. We admit it. Get biased enough. I can't imagine getting the group of coaches in a room.
Yeah, no kidding.
To vote for all conference, all state, whatnot. So as we wrap up things, we'll go into our pick'ems, and Cody leads right now, but he's going to go 0-3 for the week. I think we enforce that.
Sure.
It's a no call, no show. We're worried about you, Cody. We're hoping you're not stuck on the side of a road or anything like that. No, we seriously just let us know where you're.
Yeah.
His son immediately goes to, Dad, wake up. But last week, bad week for me, bad week for America and the universe as Dallas Cowboys beat Oakland. Anytime Jerry Jones gets success, a devil gets his horns. No, I'm just kidding. And I go, my worst week of the season, 2-3. You and Cody went 4-1. Of course, I wasn't surprised San Diego State beat Boise State, although I picked Boise State. I'm surprised it was 17-7.
Yeah, I figured it would be a little bit closer. Yeah.
And then, of course, we all got kind of put in our place by and Nash, I'm sure if he's listening upstairs, is jumping up and down going, ha! By Boomer Sooner. And it's kind of funny because that one stat I mentioned that Ty Simpson plays bad when he's under pressure. Oklahoma's known for having the best pressure front four in the country. And that's they got outgained by almost 200 plus yards. They only had their offense didn't do squat, but that defense just kept rattling the Alabama offense. So now Alabama to play for the SEC in a must win, and Auburn's sitting there going, "Our season's been awful, but we get to ruin it for you."
Yeah.
And it's at Jordan Hare at night where Auburn, I'm telling you, that place is haunted. Auburn has beaten Bama they've only played 4 times at night, and they're either 3-1 or 4-0 at night. So that'll be interesting. Of course, Texas A&M got a huge scare against South Carolina, and then South Carolina may have seen its coaches all lose their jobs in a span of a half. But
that's a sign of a really good team coming back from that far out.
Coming back from 31-0, you're not only showing you're a good team, or 31-3 that you're a good team. Somebody from the coaches on down to the players has made a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
And I go back to that one field goal opportunity they had that they declined to take, and they went for it, got stopped. 3 plays later, another touchdown. A&M's only down 1 score. I'm not saying, but any chance you got to add on points, because the clock was the biggest enemy the whole time anyway. So
especially when you're up that far, you gotta take the points.
But even though we thought, and even though the list I downloaded on ESPN technically was wrong, it's Montana State, UC Davis we picked, but we both all went with Montana, and then of course the Bills won. As well. So Cody sits at 41-20 on the season. I sit at 39-22, and Baylor clawing back from from the early games of 37-24. So he's right back in it. Anything can happen. We still got a lot of schedule left as far as for football, and then of course we'll probably start throwing in some college basketball. And y'all can't pay me enough to include NBA because I just can't stand the NBA. So
I also will struggle with college basketball.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's part of the game.
We're gonna go ahead here, and depending on how nicely we're feeling, we may allow your dad to jump in and pick these later on. So we're gonna start out with what 20 years ago been a much bigger game. USC at Oregon. Who you got?
Oh, man. Let's see. I had these pulled up. USC at Oregon. Oregon's at home. I think they're vying for a Big Ten title spot, probably. Title appearance. I think Oregon at home.
I agree. Autzen Stadium, a great place. They're currently, of course, Indiana and Ohio State in the driver's seat for the Big Ten.
True. Yep, that's true.
And they don't play each other, unfortunately, for their teams. But Oregon, USC, and Michigan all sitting at 6-1. So this will help clear up some of the mess, hopefully.
Well, and Oregon playing for college football playoff wild card as well.
Potentially, yeah.
Got to win this one.
Bad part for the Ducks, and they almost need to win it kind of impressive because USC is about the best team on their schedule that they could, besides Indiana. Of course, they lost that game.
Right.
So they really need to come out and perform here. Then we're going to go to a Mountain West game. We got New Mexico versus Air Force.
That one's at Air Force?
It's at Air Force.
And New Mexico has actually put up a good year. Air Force obviously has struggled, except for against Wyoming, much to our chagrin.
Boise State, they played really well.
They
lost, but they played.
Is true.
They matched them point for point, basically.
Yeah, my bad. But I think New Mexico. I think they're having a good year. I think they win this one.
I'm going to go with the home team with the option style. I'm going to go with Air Force. And next, a game that we already know where Cody would be picking on this one. And I'll pick it first, so you don't have to go first every time. A game kind of two teams that, in my opinion, have a must-win for their season to finish as strong as it started. You got the BYU Cougars traveling to face the Cincinnati Bearcats. Both teams not up to where they wanted to be over the past couple weeks, just in playing, and some results they didn't get. So they want to work their way back into those discussions, and in the Big 12, of course, BYU right now would be facing Texas Tech if the season ended. Cincinnati, a game behind that, tied with Utah, Houston, and Arizona State. But, that if they can, one, take care of BYU if you're the Bearcats. Number two is then you give yourself kind of a leg up on how deep that tiebreak could go because you've beaten a top 25 team, or you've beaten a good winning percentage team in conference. I'm going to go again. I'm going to go with the Bearcats. I've liked what I've seen from them at times this season, and again, they're playing at home, and I do believe it's a night game. So
yeah, Cincinnati's lost 2 straight. I was actually at the Utah-Cincinnati game, which was kind of fun, where Utah absolutely steamrolled them. But yeah, Cincinnati's got to win this game in order to stay in contention for a Big 12 title spot, championship game spot. But I just think BYU. I feel like they burned me so many times. So I don't know why I keep going back to them. But I think BYU has to win this game because if they lose, things will definitely get interesting in the Big 12.
Well, if they lose that, then the tiebreak comes in. They're going to have to want Houston and Arizona State to win because, of course, that Utah BYU. Utah's going to – it gets all sorts of knee-deep in tiebreakers. That's the interesting part. As much as we're told the playoff would diminish the regular season potentially, is you look at the Big 12, you look at the Big 10. Big 10's got 2 leaders right now, but one lost by either one of them, tiebreak Armageddon. Yep. The SEC's got all sorts of if this happens, that happens, if this happens. So really one of the better regular seasons coming down to the wire. And if you're a team like, I'm going to brag about Georgia. If you're a team like Georgia, you're done with the SEC. You're done with your conference schedule. You kind of get to sit back. The only bad part is you don't get to improve your case either. Yep. But, of course, they got Georgia Tech coming up. Now we move into the pros. Colts at the Chiefs. I'm taking the Colts. And I've said this 3 times. I've been wrong every time. I'm taking the Colts by any amount of points they want to score. That's how much I believe in the Colts and doing it for Jim Irsay and family. God rest his soul.
Oh man, this one's tough. I mean, the 2 NFL games you picked are incredibly tough. Colts at Chiefs. I mean, it's as a Broncos fan and as me being a Broncos fan, if the Colts win, I mean that helps out our case for AFC West. If the Chiefs win, that helps out our case as the number 1 seed. Obviously, the Broncos not playing this week; they're on the bye. I really do think that the Chiefs will pull this out at home. they got hurt pretty bad last week.
They have to.
They have to win this one.
This is. I do believe they lose this, takes them below 500 at this point in the season. Takes them to 5-6, and ooh.
Yeah, and they'd be 4 games back in the AFC West at that point. So.
And the final game, an old school game. Who knows what's going to happen? We've got the Vikings at Green Bay. I'm going to go with the Pack's kind of been they look like a team who wants to step that next step up. They're playing at home. Green Bay fans are great as always. I haven't looked at the weather, but you can just assume it's going to be cold. This may be the first time we're not doing Monday night, by the way. I'm going to go with the Pack as well, just because they're at home, and the Vikings have been good, but not consistent, and the road has proven kind of a bit of an issue for them at times.
Yeah, I think J.J. McCarthy just isn't totally up to snuff just yet. I think he will be a good QB, but he's just kind of making the rookie mistakes, which, he's not going to come out and set the world on fire as a rookie, most likely. So I'm going to go the Pack as well. I think, they're just going to run all over the Vikings.
And for those who are wondering why we're not picking the Monday night game, it's my Carolina Panthers against the 49ers, and there's not a soul alive. I'm not saying the Panthers can't win, but there is not a smart person alive unless they've been to the future who's picking Carolina on Monday night at San Francisco. Yeah. It's just not happening.
Yeah, San Fran's favored by a touchdown, I believe, in that game.
Well, we're going to form a posse here. We're going to get off the air and go find Cody. But for Baylor Bears, this has been Kevin Shields. You've been listening to WyoToday Sports Live on 101.7 KDNO.